Probably the worst version of that I've ever done. Bruins fans, it is not it out because that is a 3-1 victory over the Vegas Golden Knights. Not only to come out of this, on the other side of this is 3-game road trip with 4 points, but to also end the almighty gauntlet. There's much time starting on starting against Tampa on November 21st. We had a 5-3 victory over the Lightning. No, I'm not going to go down the entire thing. We come out of it on the other side with 6 wins, 2 losses, and 1 overtime loss for 13 points during this gauntlet. And honestly, I am proud of the Bruins for doing this well all during in the gauntlet. It would have been better to come out of all night in games with a win and for us to put 18 points on the board, but what are you gonna do? What you're gonna do is you're gonna talk about that freaking missed icing call at the end of the game last on Friday. Thank you, strange voice. That sounds very much like my own. Yes, the missed icing call at the end of the Arizona game, right before Arizona scored right before the game-winning goal was scored. Everybody has sort of been talking about. Everybody around Boston has sort of been talking about it as like, hey, this should have happened, and refs kind of screwed us on this one. And I'm very inclined to agree with that. Yes, the refs got a really dumb penalty, really dumb called on that. But I have a rebuttal. Don't play in a way that makes you take that makes you go that makes you have to rely on that to win or just even get to overtime. Let's face it, the Bruins on defense. Let's face it, Jeremy Swayman did not have a good game on Friday night. It's not anything that needs it's further pouring over. Jeremy Swayman had a really bad game in last night. But wins and losses are a team stat, and honestly, I think I think that the defense could have had. There were two plays where there was one play where Lindholm absolutely should have had his man, and he's a step behind and allowed for that to happen. And yes, pretty much all the goals scored during the game on Friday were ones that you would have wanted to save. You would have wanted to save. They were very this. Friday was a very winnable game, but everybody just kind of let this just happen, and because of this, Toronto is what Toronto. We went into this game with Toronto 1 point behind us in the standing. A team that we all thought was dead in October is now back and kicking out. Who would have thought that the first month in the season isn't actually a good indicator of how the team is going to play for the rest of the season? Sorry, my throat. But yes, the Bruins start this game 1 point ahead of Toronto for first place in the Atlantic Division, and we go up against Vegas, who used where Riley Smith it ripped our hearts out in a fifth round of the shootout last time we played them. After we came back down three goals. So we know that we can beat Vegas. We know that we can do this. But I don't know if anybody had. I don't know if anybody could have predicted that the game could have gone in this way. And pretty early on, the Bruins take a dumb penalty, and Mark Stone ends up potting the first one. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to mince words with any of you. My notes for this game are not very detailed because for the entire game I was splitting attention between watching this game and playing Smash Bros with my friends. The best way that I put it is for Smash Bros fans is Ike in this what is it? The Bruins in this game are sort of like Ike. They're a big, strong team that doesn't really play the fastest, but they play one of the hardest games but they play one of the most hardest hitting in games in the league. And if you do not take them seriously, they will kick your ass. They will kick your ass, and they may take a little bit to really get behind, but they are fun. And Vegas in this game is your box standard Mario. They're pretty they're pretty decent all around. They got good goaltending. They got great defense. They got great offense. What is their issue? Actually, looking up in the looking up the matchup data for Ike versus Mario. Ike usually loses the matchup against Mario. So let's see how the Bruins won this unfavorable match. Things that Money Puck actually Money Puck actually agrees is with the Bruins. There we go. With the Bruins being generally being unfavored in this matchup, only being expected to win in 32.6% of the time after 1,000 simulation. And meaning you put this game into a simulation 1,000 times, the Bruins end up the victor 326 times, and Vegas ends up the victor 674 times. So the odds were kind of stacked against us going into this game, but let's see how we and really, but let's get back to the point. I actually just watched the highlight of it. So what happens is Mark Stone takes a pass from the face-off circle. He's right next to Linus Ullmark. Nobody is on him. He takes the puck. He corrals it in front of Ullmark and brings it across to the to tap it in for the to put the Vegas up 1-0. And as it rains and pours, the Bruins aren't really getting scored on. They're not really getting any stocks taken off. But it very much is looking like the Bruins are getting outplayed on this one, and all the way up to the end of the first period after Marchand takes a tripping goes for tripping, and Nick Waugh on Vegas goes for tripping with 29 seconds left in the period, and like 20 seconds left on Marchand's penalty, and then we get the turnaround. We get the counter in this matchup, where a Vegas player just decides to pretty much just murk Brad Marchand right in front of everyone after the whistle was blown for the end of the first period, and nobody called anything. Like that is clear roughing, or at the that is clear unsportsmanlike conduct, or at the very least, just roughing. And you're not going to call anything, just not even just 2 minutes for you can't freaking do that. Not even 2 minutes for what are you doing? Just not even going to touch that. Whatever. We start the second period with a minute and a half still on Nick Waugh's penalty, and Vegas kills it. I don't know what I expected, but we get the first stock of Vegas is taken off with Bergeron getting to open space immediately after a face-off. Somehow he's not the one taking the face-off, but Bergeron getting to just barely open space. Is the puck rattles around a little bit? It finds Bergeron. He just blasts it on Logan Thompson to finish to put the Bruins up to tie the game 1-1. It's funny that I'm using Smash Bros. As the analogy for this one, because the next one is something. Because the next thing is something straight out of Mario Kart. Connor Clifton just flies right into the. It just flies right into the net like it's a freaking green shell, just hurtling towards the net, and he just and the net obviously comes off its pegs. He looks a little bit shaken up, but he's fine. Clifton is fine, and it's and he's looking good. He's looking good, and the Bruins are feeling good. You can definitely feel like, I mean, the entire time during this 3-game road trip, the Bruins fans have traveled really well. Every single game, there's been a very audible "Let's go Bruins" chant that Jack Edwards has so kindly commented on, and still has not commented on the Pat Maroon comments, but regardless, Bruins fans have given this team energy throughout this entire 3-game road stretch, and you could feel it in the Bruins. They are feeling. One could say that they are really feeling. They're really feeling it. That's chunk, not ice. Period. And big props to Alec Martinez on this defensive play, because he is trying his hardest, but Pavel Zacha just barely outweights him. He chips it up to he sauces it over to Jake DeBrusk, who finds the open seam past Logan Thompson, and the Bruins are up 2-1. The second stock's been taken. And then we get to the final stock taken off of Vegas. The one where even though there were like 10 minutes left in the game, you could 100% hear the Smash Bros. Announcer going, "Game!" Again, I will reiterate from the last video. The third line has been putting in so much work, and it is paid off in dividends. And Frederick behind the net, it was an absolute workhorse on this one, and feeding it to Coyle, feeding it to Coyle. Coyle clears it to the blue line to Forbort. Forbort passes it back to Coyle, who's at the face-off dot, and Charlie Coyle just absolutely rips it past Logan Thompson, and to put the Bruins up 3-1. And it's kind of clear to everybody that Vegas is kind of gassed. They're not really coming out with the same sort of intensity. They're not really playing with the same sort of drive that they had been earlier. But the Bruins are playing amazing. They are playing with such intensity. They are stopping everything in front of their own net, and it just sort of reinforces the idea in my head that this team does not like to play well in front of Jeremy Swayman, but they like to play really well in front of Linus Ullmark. We get to the final. 4F150 final 5. Vegas pulls Logan Thompson. It's not, and nothing really happens. Neither team really gets too good of an opportunity. Bruins don't really get any sort of chance to get an empty netter. Vegas doesn't really make any sort of high danger shot, and eventually we hit the Bruins win. You might remember me earlier saying that this isn't the end. This isn't truly the end of the gauntlet. And you're right. The Bruins at the end of this, after this game, the Bruins schedule gets easier, but it's still not necessarily easy. They have their next game is against the Islanders on Tuesday. Then we got the Kings. Then we got the Blue Jackets, which is easy. Then we got the Panthers and Jets, and then and then in the next game after the Jets, it's the second half of a back-to-back. Is finally our first matchup against those New Jersey Devils. Oh boy! Yeah, the schedule doesn't get easier, but it gets. The schedule doesn't get easier, but it's still the schedule gets easier, but it's still not easy. And with Toronto gaining traction, might want to guys might want to take this victory and kick it into high gear. Upgrade your weapons and armor. It's game time. And that is it for tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. Click like if you like. Click subscribe if you really like. Up there is my most recent video. Down there is my twitch.tv and my and also the link to Tampa Bay Thrives to help kids to help out kids who are struggling with body image issues and mental health issues in Tampa because if Jack Edwards isn't gonna stand for it, then because if Jack Edwards isn't gonna pay any mind to those kids, then I sure as shit will. Anyway, that's it. Good night. See you all on Tuesday. Take care.